Happy Monday, everybody. I hope you had a fantastic weekend. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Grammar Monday. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the power of verb extensions. Using just two verbs, I'm going to show you how verb extensions change the form and change the meaning. This means that they are especially important if you want to understand how the Swahili language functions. So I truly hope that you find this video a good use of your time. Also, I would like to invite you for our webinar this Friday. We're going to be covering in depth the verb extensions. I'm going to be showing you how we work with all of the verb extensions. Of course, not all at once. It's part of a series, but I do hope that you'll join me if you truly want to become a pro at verb extension. If you already know them, this is just a nice reminder for you. Other than that, I will see you on Random Wednesday or Friday. In this video, I would like to demonstrate just how powerful verb extensions are and how once you learn them, they will make your life so much easier in terms of identifying and recognizing different verbs. Okay, so for our purposes today, I will be using the verb soma, and which means read, or in its infinitive form it should be kusoma, but because I want the stem of it, I will be just using soma. So if I want to say I am reading, what do you think that would be? This is just the basic form of this verb. Did you say Nina soma? Very good. So this is the basic structure of, hey, I am reading. Okay, so when we use verb extensions, we simply are able to transform this verb into other forms of it. In other words, we conjugate them. So I will be showing you multiple forms of verb extensions that conjugate the verbs to mean different things depending on what we are trying to say. The first one we will be working with is the prepositional verb extension. So I will show you how exactly that looks like from this particular verb. In this instance, we would need to use the prepositional verb extension because we are introducing two elements. One is the preposition for, and then we have the object her. So how does that look like? So it's going to look like this. Ni, na, so, mea. As you can see, our verb now has transformed from just simple soma, and now it's somea. However, another thing has changed in this particular sentence. We have the object infix because we're not just reading, we are reading for her. And now we have ni, na, somea. Okay? So this is how we render a prepositional verb extension. Now, if the root of this word was, say, a, it would be something different. Let me show you just how that would differ. So if I wanted to say I am cooking for her, now we see the verb changing into pikia. So the difference in this case is simply the vowel in the root verb. Pik becomes ia and becomes ea. So this is the prepositional verb extension. Let us proceed and look at the causative verb extension and how it transforms our verb. So when we use causative verb extension, this is when we want to make a verb show that somebody or something caused an action to happen. In this case, I made her read. So we still have our verb soma, but in this case, we want to conjugate it so that it demonstrates that the action was not necessarily voluntary, somebody made it happen. What would that be? So, did you say nilimsomesha? I write here nilimwandikisha just to show you how different it would vary depending on the root vowel. Okay, so nilimsomesha. Different from what we said earlier when it came to prepositional, where it was ea. Now we have esha to demonstrate I caused or I made her read and I made them write or her write. Okay, so this is how the causative verb looks like. Let us continue and look at the reciprocal verb extension. The reciprocal verb extension. What if you want to say, we read for each other? We read for each other. How would that be? So that formulates the reciprocal verb extension in Swahili. Now we are going to say this. Our verb is going to be tulisomeana. So why the difference? First of all, reciprocal usually occurs between two or more people. You cannot have an action that is reciprocal with just one party or one subject. There's always going to be two subjects for this particular thing. So that's why we're using two, because it's us, we, and of course the past tense, li. So notice I have someana versus somana. I had to conjugate this into the prepositional one because we have the for here. Tuli, some, a, that is the first step, and then simply affix the na to show that it's reciprocal. Usually we indicate reciprocity in our verb extensions by simply affixing na. But we have to be careful about the verb that we're working with, because if I just said tulisomana, that simply means we read each other. Or if I used our verb here for pika, I couldn't just say tulipikana, because that means we cooked each other, which is not a good idea. So we have to conjugate this first into the prepositional one and say tulipikia and then na. So these are called compound verb extensions, where you're actually doubling up one compound, one extension over another to make it make sense. Because some of these things, if you just extend them without the first step, they won't make any sense. Okay, so far we've done reciprocal, we have done prepositional, and we have done causative. Now I'm going to do all the verbs side by side so that you see how different they look. So here we have soma. In its prepositional form, that is, you're doing something for or by or on, then this is ea, somea. And for pika, pikia, cook for, read for. And for causative, that is, make somebody or something is causing something to happen. So this is somesha, for cause to read, pikisha, cause to cook. And reciprocal, which in this instance only is a compound extension, it's someana, for read for each other, and pikiana, which is cook for each other. Okay, so you can see a trend here. You can identify a different verb extension depending on how it's behaving. So if you see ia, ea, it's probably prepositional. If you see isha, esha, or isa, eza, then you know it's causative. Reciprocal is usually going to just end up with na or n and na, no matter what else is happening. So I hope you found this episode useful. If you want to learn more or in depth how exactly to work with all the other verb extensions, I invite you to join me for the webinar this Friday, because I will be going into more detail about how you can work with your verb extensions. But if you already know these things and you just needed a small reminder, I hope you found this efficient. I will see you again on Random Wednesday.